After conquering Celeste at the fastest rate possible and even clearing Farewell in what might be my proudest gaming achievement, it is difficult to ignore there is still one last thing left to do in this game. Seasides are the toughest variations on Celeste's regular chapters. Each one is 3 rooms long and they are the most demanding of the player. So the question is simple: can I beat all Celeste Seasides at twice the speed? Let's check it out. Chapter 1 already started with some traffic light blocks surrounded by spikes. The timing on Madelaine's jump had to be near perfect to be able to get through the little gaps. The 4th traffic light block needed to be grabbed from the other side, and so calculating the timing in which I had to jump required several attempts, and I could already feel I was beginning to be a little bit mad. This is just the first room of the first Seaside. However, after a while I managed to get it, and with an elegant last jump I reached the next room, which was honestly really easy. You just had to jump over some falling ice blocks and use momentum to get to the end of the room. And so, I had arrived to the last room of the chapter 1, and I felt the difficulty spike instantly. Stamina management, traffic light blocks that went fast sliding, and I really had lots of troubles with the tight jump I had to make almost at the end of the level, in which I needed to get off a moving traffic light block and get through a tiny gap surrounded by spikes. In fact, it was so hard to get it that I went to practice mode just to practice this single jump until I got it most of the time, and after that I cleared the room almost immediately and completed my first Seaside in about 40 minutes. Chapter 2's first 2 rooms were a piece of cake. I managed to clear them in under a minute, and that was because I'm dumb and didn't think of a path while collecting the blue coins in round 2. The last one, as per usual, was going to be tough as hell. Dream blocks ramped up my speed to absurd levels, and my reaction times needed to be on point. And this Seaside is a perfect example of why I do these challenges. It just looks so fucking cool. Here, watch the winning attempt. See Madelaine flies through the dream blocks like she's Sonic the Hedgehog. It is time for everyone's favorite resort. Yay! Chapter 3 Seaside, following the tradition of base Chapter 3 and its B-side, introduced a new mechanic famously known as bullshit level design. Look at this first room. What is this crap? What I'm supposed to do? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Thank God this chapter has an absolute banger for an OST, which filled me up with enough determination to dash through the dust creatures like I was playing red light, green light. After many tries, I found a good combination of dashes, and after a leap of faith from the wall, I reached the ceiling and advanced to the next room. And room number 2 wasn't as hard as the previous one, not even close. It just required good timing and performing wall jumps, which I am quite good at thanks to my speedrunning history with Celeste. It took just a couple of tries, and there I was, in the final room, ready to face Mr. Oshiro's wrath one last time. And you can bet it was hard as hell. Dust creatures moving at lightning speed, Mr. Oshiro being as annoying as ever, and the worst part of it all, the part that induced me into this descent spiral into madness, was this one. Yeah, not only did I have to dodge all those challenges thrown at me, but on top of that, in the last jump I needed to reach maximum height or I would lose everything. This crushed me. But I kept trying, as that's what Celeste has taught me to do. And after dozens of attempts, I managed to reach the end once more, and this time I would not waste my shot. Do you know why that happened, by the way? Some may say that it happens due to the game being run at twice the speed, which makes Madelaine's slow-mo fall happen faster than it's supposed to. But I think the main reason this happens is because you are not subscribed to Wild Rush. So what are you waiting for? Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our content and comment us your thoughts. We always respond to them. Well, let's go to chapters 4 Seaside. And before that, like the video. if you like it. Chapter 4 Seaside began with a green bubble wall jump combo that, although it took a while to get used to at this kind of speed, it wasn't a challenge at all. But perhaps I spoke too soon, because the second room of this Seaside was suffering embodied into a video game level. So hard, so precise, so tight, so fast. It was a nightmare. I managed to figure out a complicated setup to begin my ascension with the moving block to avoid doing the first tight jump, but still it was excruciatingly hard. Proof of it being that I spent almost an hour in there. There were close calls to beating the room, which demolished my hopes and dreams, but finally, after what felt like an eternity in purgatory, I managed to clear it. The second room was over. Now on to the third one, which should be the hardest. Shit. Hey everyone, let's welcome back our favorite mechanic of Celeste. Welcome back, Wind. The hardest part of Chapters 4 Seaside was figuring out how to deal with the extreme winds and land on the pink clouds at the beginning of the level. Once I was able to overcome them consistently, the rest of it was honestly quite easy, and soon enough I was able to obtain the golden heart at the end of the level. No! This didn't happen to me once. Not even twice. Not even thrice, for fuck's sake. It happened a lot more than that. I even thought this Seaside was impossible to beat, since I couldn't think of a way to gain more height and avoid dying once I grabbed the heart. After several winning attempts, and I don't know what I did differently, I barely avoided death and cleared the level. That was rough, man. 1 hour and 10 minutes. Almost 600 deaths. I wonder how it's gonna go in Chapter 5. Chapter 5 Seaside is the hardest one in the game to beat at twice the speed. There, I said it. The first room was a remake of Chapter 4's first room, but now I needed to time my wall jumps perfectly to move from dashing platform to dashing platform. This was horrible, and I spent 40 minutes on it until I somehow got lucky and cleared the room. The next one after that was even harder, posing a serious challenge that... Wait, no. This one was actually easy. It just demanded a really cool wall jump. Perhaps the coolest one in the game. And so, we reached the final room in Chapters 5 Seaside. This level, at twice the speed, is enough to break a man. My soul was shattered playing this over and over and over and over and over and over, and I got to be honest, I couldn't beat it, even though I tried and I tried and I tried. I got decently far enough into the level, but it's just too fast. It's too precise. I spent hours in plural, trying to complete this thing, but I finally had to admit defeat. I am not good enough to clear Chapters 5 Seaside at twice the speed. And with that, we could say the challenge was a failure. I know Celeste taught me to persevere, to keep my determination pumping my engine, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't complete all Celeste Seasides at twice the speed. It was time to surrender. But wait, even though I couldn't make it in this one, shouldn't I try at least Chapter 6 and 7? If this game taught me something, that is perseverance, determination, and being constant. So let's give it a try. And so I marched on to Chapter 6 Seaside, and it was brutal. A Vietnam of sorts in this cute indie video game of climbing a mountain and battling depression. Every single room in this one tried its best to force me to surrender, but I wouldn't. I kept trying and trying, motivated more than ever, to clear Chapter 6 Seaside and cleanse my palate after the beating ending of Chapter 5. And eventually, the effort was rewarded, as I cleared the last room of the Seaside and grabbed the blue heart after some Aztec bouncy jumps. And so, only one Seaside waited for me, the summit. 3 last rooms of perhaps the toughest challenges in the game. And what a challenge it was indeed. I cleared the first 2 rooms with ease, making my way into the final exam of Celeste. And it was just brutal. I needed to traverse a labyrinth of spikes, and every little tiny mistake was punished with death. I faced the last room endlessly, for hours and hours to no avail, always dying at some point for not being fast enough. It was too much. I managed to clear the first half of the level a couple of times, but the last segment was perhaps the hardest, and just to get there was a nightmare. Even if I tried endlessly, it could took perfectly 15 minutes to get to the second half of the game, and even then, I wouldn't even reach the first part of the second segment without dying on it. After a couple of days, I had to admit that I wouldn't be able to beat Chapter 7 either, and so I finally claudicated. But strangely enough, I wasn't sad. I managed to do absurd things while doing this challenge, and even though I am not skilled enough to beat the entirety of Celeste Seaside at twice the speed, I was really damn close, and that is quite impressive. Man, I love this game. If you haven't played it, I really encourage you to give it a try. But if you decide to climb Mount Celeste, it would be wise to do so first at regular speed. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until we meet again.